So I've got my old dial gauge here. Not a lot of people are lucky to have one of these. I found it in a garage sale in the UK a long time ago, and I never used it. But it's in inch pounds. But 80 inch pounds is 9 Newton meters, so we could be around 9 or 10. We have a bit of discrepancy, but I'm not doing it to 11. So I've backed off the adjuster nut, and I'm just going to turn that up. So it starts at 50, 60, 70, 80 is there. And give that a good nip. And we take the timing pins out. Most important, we take this one off. Just a little bit of tension, and the one at the crank. Right, so the timing pins are out. I've put the bolt back in the crank, and we're going to turn it twice, 2 full turns. In fact, I think I'll turn it 4 full turns, seeing it's Friday. Observe that on the key here, the Woodruff key in the crank, is always vertical on top dead centre. So then you can count how many turns you've done. There we go. And we're under compression. That's the worst thing about this, but it's not too bad. You know, we've got the plugs in. So that's one turn. You can see how slack the belt's got. Can you see that? Look at that. Amazing, eh? That's why you must turn it over. Now we turn it to top dead centre. Get our gauge out here. Allen key. And whilst we take this off, we keep some tension on here and adjust the belt. That's better. Adjust that to 80. And we're going to do it again. Oh, I've gone past it a little bit, but never mind. Let's check that again. Because I can see that this belt is starting to run back a little bit, which is a good thing. I think I'm just going to turn this over a few more times to settle this down. I lost count of how many times I was turning it. But you can see now that the belt here has started to ride back. We're going to check this tension again. But they seem to be settling down really nicely. The more times you turn it over, the better, really. Right. So, tool in. Let's do it the other way. So, tool in. Tension, tighten. A lot of people used to tighten these up so tight they used to sing. What happens is, I'll tell you what's the biggest problem, is this timing housing here is actually the oil pump for the engine. And what happens is, it's particularly weak in this section here, and by over tightening it you can actually pull this pulley this way, which means the belts ride forward. That's one of its common problems. But also I'm going to take off this take off the camera and I'll show you why I've got suspicions about this injector pump. So this engine here is a Maxion engine, and you can see it's in quite good condition pipework. You know, all this is usually, you know, rusted out by now, 96. So, and I don't know what year this is. That's the funniest thing. But you can sort of see it's got two engine numbers. It's got an engine number down there and somebody's half-assed stamped a number on there. Not very convincing, but it gets away with it. Observe here, there is a bolt missing from here, and there's a bolt missing down there. This is a very, very crucial bracket, because this, if your belt's too tight, it will stop the belt turning, stop the housing turning whilst the engine's running and pulling against that pump. So on the Mark 1 idea they had of this, it was just a bracket with a nut and bolt in, but on the later models they put a sliding bush, and you can see there it's not quite touching, and the idea of that is the bush will allow to move to this bracket, and once tight the pump isn't going to move in theory. So, and yeah, look at all that sealer down there. That doesn't look like Maxion like to me. I wonder if somebody's been in this before. In fact, there's sealer all the way down here. I think somebody's been in this before. I wouldn't have thought the factory would have put dobs of sealer like that everywhere. Well, you can never tell. So that's that. That's that. So I'm going to find some bolts for here. But I think what I'm going to do is check the timing using the timing gauge, because there's something not quite right with this. You know, why was it out of phase? Now, if you can see here, I wish you could see. I'll tilt the light. You know, it's not much light, but you can see that's now in line and it's looking beautiful. But what is the pump setting on here? Is it off? Well, we're here now, so might as well find out, eh? So I've taken the bottom two injector pipes off just for better access. I've put the gauge in with the long extension and the adapter that goes in the back of the pump, and it's now set at 0 because, as you can see, it's not quite at top dead centre yet, and neither is it on its firing mark here, if you see what I mean. So what we do now, we get the pin. Where is it now? It's gone here somewhere. It's been gone walkabout somewhere. We're going to put the pin back in the crankshaft and turn it and observe what the setting is here. Well, you might as well share this moment with me. So I've got the pin in. Listen for the pin to click when it's on top dead centre, and we'll have a look and see what the reading is. What the hell is that? I tell you what, I'm going to do it again because I missed it. Did it go around twice? Because it's at 0. Let me set this up again. So I've set the gauge up again. I've moved it around a little bit so I can see. I couldn't see the 0 at this time. I've set it up to 0. So that's like halfway between two cylinders firing. And I'm just going to turn it until the pin drops in. No, that doesn't seem quite right. That's only at 2. That's only at 2. It should be 160. That's why they've been messing about with the front here. Ah. Now we can fake this quite easily. You remember we said we had this on slots? I'm just going to undo the bolts, the 3 bolts on the front of the crank, not on the crank but on the injector pump, and I'm going to turn it manually to 160, which is there. I know what they've done. I know what they've done now. What they've done, shall I tell you what they've done? It's moved a little bit since I've messed about with it, but and I'm right at the edge of the slot. But they haven't put the flange on properly on the front of the pump, and now you remember those slots, I've moved the pump right round and it's back to where it was before. So, yeah, I think we're going to leave it at that, because this is above our pay grade and we're going to spend a lot of time taking the pump off, resetting it and things like this, and sort of getting nowhere. So, and I don't want to do that. It's set there at 155. What was the original setting? Well, I can't remember now. But 160 is usually what you're targeting for, but I can't get it any more on the slots, I don't think. No, I'm right against the edge of the slot. Let me show you. See? This is why we put the belt in the middle. So what we've done is we've slackened these 3 bolts off, turned the pump round, advanced it, and I don't know if you can see, but it's in exactly the same place as it was when we took it off. The sun's getting a bit bad now, but that's what they've done. They've advanced the pump to come up with the correct timing. Is it right? Is it wrong? The downside about this setup is that although you can adjust the pump to get the right timing, then the problem's going to be if somebody else takes the belt off like I did and don't have that gauge to set the timing. Well, we'll inform the customer. That's the best we can do. Right, so now we're satisfied that we tighten these down to 25 Newton meters, 45 Newton meters, 45 Newton meters. We'll get the gasket ready, we'll put it on and then fasten the casing down again to 25 Newton meters. A rule of thumb is that an 8mm threaded bolt is 25 Newton meters, and the 10mm is 45 Newton meters. It's quite easy to work out. You don't always need the book. Now, am I going to change the front seal in here? Well, no, not really. It's only sort of like a glorified dust seal. I don't think I'll change it. Not only that, I haven't got one. So that's going to get missed out. We'll take off the remainder of the seal. There we go, that's that off. Just check, because I've still got the bolts in there. That's okay. We'll get the seal out the box. The seal is here. I've just seen where this was made. Yeah, sun's coming up now, so I'm having a hard time seeing. I'm not sure if you can see the cover here. Probably. I've put the gasket on the bolts, cleaned up the cover. There should be included in the kit a little round gasket that goes in here, but they always seem to be missing now. I don't know why. Oh, I see that bolt's jammed on there. There. Oh, the bolts fell out. It has to settle on the dowels like that. That's it. Might as well have taken them out anyway. I only dropped 3, that wasn't too bad. So I'm going to spin those down and then we'll torque them down. So we'll continue torquing these down, 25 Newton meters in a crisscross pattern. should be that. There. Next we'll put the pulley on. Bearings dry, really could do replacing, but again we haven't got one. I know you can buy the bearings separately, but hell of a job trying to find them here. I just cut my thumb on that piece of sharp metal there. Bugger. So, blood everywhere now. So I'll torque them down and then we'll put the crank pulley back on. Now the last job is to tighten up the pulley. First of all, it's 80 Newton meters. And then 90 degrees. Now I don't know if we're going to get that, but I've got a big scaffolding pole on here which is tied to the forklift, so we might be able to get it. Don't know. Oh. What happened there? Oh, my pole slipped. Wait a minute. I'll have to now reset that. Oh, wait a minute, that's it. Right, so 90 degrees, eh? Fat chance of that. Ooh, I think we're going to have another pole. It's weird. Coming from jolly old England, we've got an abundance of scaffolding poles. But I don't think we're going to get this. Somehow. Now that started off roughly parallel to that one. There's no way. Oh, that's not going to come off, it's going to break my bar. Yeah, mate, that's tight. Right, give up. If at first you don't succeed, give up. I'd be more than surprised if that came off. So, that's our job done. That's one, isn't there? There we go. I'm going to put the nuts back on there just to save those. These bolts are really important to get the right length, otherwise you knock the dust shield off on the back of the pulley. So I think that's it. That's all we need to know. The timing obviously needs sort of looking at, but we might leave that for another day. But it's set now. So this Malawi engine has obviously had no coolant in it at all. Look at the state of this connector here. And you know what the worst part is? You can't buy that connector. You have to buy the whole housing. You know, it's crazy. But you can see that rust has got into this engine, something terrible. And if I started to take this to bits, for example, I bet your bottom dollar will find there's corrosion in this head. And this is really nasty. Fortunately, I think I might find a solution for that. I might just get JP to knock one up. It won't take him 5 minutes. Yeah, one of the problems, eh? Never mind, so we'll sign that job off, that's done. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Making a Land Rover better? Well, sort of. Yes, a lot better. At least we wouldn't have lost the belt. See you later, bye.